You've been fed a lie, and it's so subtle you barely noticed it happening. The lie that every relationship is, or should be, an equal partnership. It's sold as progress, as fairness, as the secret to happiness. The workplace tells you it. Therapists preach it. Social media screams it with every post about shared power and mutual respect. But Machiavelli, centuries before your world became obsessed with equality, saw through the mask. He knew something you're rarely allowed to say out loud. Wherever two people stand together, one will lead and the other will follow. That's not cynicism, that's reality. Look at your life. You can see it in every connection, every partnership. You try to split things down the middle, duties, decisions, affection, money. But watch closely, and it becomes obvious. One person always sets the tone. One pushes, the other yields. One drives, the other rides. It's not just in romance. It's in business, in friendships, even in family. The scales never balance for long. Power isn't evil. It's the gravity that keeps relationships from spinning into chaos. The fantasy of perfect equality. It's an idea to keep you docile, harmless, easy to predict. Machiavelli would laugh at your attempts to level the field. He understood power not as something to be ashamed of, but as the real engine behind loyalty, passion, and respect. The moment you pretend power doesn't matter, you lose the game, and you don't even realize it. You start apologizing for having standards. You feel guilty for leading. You shrink so the other can feel equal, and both of you become resentful, frustrated, bored. Why does the world sell equality so hard? Because it keeps everyone soft, manageable, safe. An equal partnership is a partnership where no one takes full responsibility. No one risks offending. No one demands more. The relationship stalls, the energy dies, and both parties quietly search for someone with an edge. Someone willing to claim authority, set a standard, take the risk of being disliked for having a spine. Every man feels the tension, even if he can't name it. You want to be respected, but you're told not to lead. You want to protect, but you're told that's patriarchal. You want to make decisions, but you're told it's controlling. So you become neutral, you compromise, you hide your hunger for dominance, and then you wonder why she loses interest, why your business partner stops listening, why your friends never look to you when things get real. The Machiavellian truth is simple. Every partnership is defined by power. The only question is whether you wield it consciously or pretend it doesn't exist. Deny it, and you'll be ruled by those who don't. Own it, and you set the terms of every connection you keep. Equality sounds nice, but real relationships are built on power, and those who accept this shape the world. The rest are shaped by it. Every relationship is a battleground, whether you admit it or not. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Power isn't something you take out only when it's convenient. It's a living force, a current that runs under every word, every gesture, every decision. Most people never acknowledge it. They talk about compromise, about meeting halfway, about consensus. But if you look honestly, you'll see that every so-called equal partnership is actually a delicate dance of dominance and submission, of assertion and surrender. The balance is always shifting, sometimes in ways so subtle you only realize what happened after the dynamic has flipped completely. You've seen it in your own life. Maybe you started a relationship as the leader, the one making moves, setting standards, laying out a vision. Then, slowly, maybe you let her take the wheel. Maybe it happened in business. A partner who deferred at first, then started making all the decisions while you faded into the background. Or in a friendship that always felt equal until it was time to make a hard call, and suddenly, one voice outweighed the other. The equilibrium is always temporary, and the shift is inevitable. What happens when you deny this? When you buy the fantasy of perfect balance? You suppress your instincts, stifle your ambition, swallow your opinions for the sake of peace. You hope that if you just keep things fair, the connection will flourish. But Machiavelli would tell you this is a slow death. The hunger for power doesn't vanish. It goes underground, showing up as resentment, passive aggression, boredom, or silent sabotage. You start keeping score. You start noticing the smallest imbalances and letting them poison the whole relationship. The more you suppress the reality of power, the more power controls you from the shadows. You wonder why she tests you, why your friends start taking advantage, why your business partner stops respecting your word. It's because you abandoned your post. You stopped steering, and now you're a passenger in your own life. And here's the ugly truth. Nobody truly respects a man who refuses to claim his space. They might call you nice, understanding, easygoing. But when the storm hits, they look for the one who can make the hard decisions, the one who can take the heat, who can hold the line. Equality as an ideal is seductive. It feels good to say, to post, to wear as a badge. But real connection, real fire, only exists when someone sets the tone. If you keep waiting for permission to lead, you'll get lost in a fog of endless negotiation and half-hearted compromise. Relationships, at their best, are not about pretending everyone is the same. They're about polarity, tension, the constant push and pull that makes people alive to each other. Power is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's the willingness to risk conflict in order to create order. If you want real respect, you have to accept the risk of being disliked. If you want real partnership, you must let go of the illusion of equality and learn to embrace the living, shifting, vital reality of power. Machiavelli knew, those who do not shape the dynamic will always be shaped by it. Step up or get stepped over. There is no middle ground. Machiavelli's wisdom is merciless but liberating. If you refuse to lead, chaos will lead for you. Every relationship where no one claims authority quickly devolves into power games, hidden battles, and a slow, simmering chaos. You know this, even if you can't always admit it. You've seen it in your own life. The household where no one decides and everyone bickers. The team where nobody takes charge, so projects stall and tempers flare. The relationship where both of you say whatever you want until you both secretly resent each other for the indecision. Equality doesn't prevent power struggles, it invites them. The vacuum left by your unwillingness to lead becomes a breeding ground for manipulation, passive aggression, and resentment. You imagine you're being fair, that you're sharing the load, but in reality, you're abandoning responsibility. Machiavelli saw that people crave direction, even when they claim to despise authority. In your efforts to avoid being controlling, you've handed the keys to chaos. Women are especially sensitive to this void. If you don't claim your authority, they will, but not because they want to. They'll do it because the alternative is living in uncertainty. That breeds anxiety and contempt, not love. She might run the show, but she won't respect you for letting her. It's the same with friends and business partners. When you don't lead, they either overcompensate or become bitter that everything falls to them. You think you're keeping the peace, but you're seeding frustration and disappointment. And if you do try to reclaim power later, after you've abdicated it for months or years, expect rebellion. People get comfortable with the vacuum. When you finally step up, there's backlash. They're used to you fading out, so your sudden assertion feels like a threat to the new order of things. That's why Machiavelli always advised, claim your role early, set the standard, and never apologize for leading. There's a cost to refusing this responsibility. You lose self-respect. You feel a growing sense of impotence, a gnawing bitterness as others ignore your opinion, or worse, pity your weakness. The vacuum grows until there's nothing left but obligation and unspoken anger. This is why so many men wake up one day and wonder why their relationships are cold, their teams dysfunctional, their friendships shallow. They surrendered their role as leader, thinking they were doing the right thing, and found only chaos and contempt in return. If you want connection, claim responsibility. If you want respect, set the standard. Power hates a vacuum, and Machiavelli was ruthless in his advice. Better to risk being resented for leading than to be despised for your absence. Lead or prepare to be led by chaos, by resentment, or by someone with less vision than you. Step into any relationship, romantic or otherwise, and you'll encounter tests. Machiavelli would tell you these aren't games or petty dramas. They're instinctual, almost primal. People, especially women, test boundaries to see where authority really lies. They need to feel where the limits are, who will hold the line, who is unafraid to set the rules. It isn't cruelty, it's biology. The absence of authority is felt as anxiety, not liberation. You've experienced it. The "are you sure?" The "why don't you decide?" The provocation, the little challenges, the pushbacks. None of it is accidental. The world is hungry for someone to own the role of decision maker. Authority is attractive not because it's domineering, but because it signals stability. It says, you know who you are, what you want, and what you'll tolerate. This is what draws people in, not just romantically, but in every part of life. Leadership is a kind of gravity. Everyone else orbits it, whether they admit it or not. But most men flinch when tested. They shrink, compromise, backpedal, hoping to keep the peace or win approval. They think bending will be rewarded with affection or gratitude. Instead, they get contempt. Because those tests aren't really about the details. They're about your willingness to stand firm. When you collapse, you reveal a deeper truth. You don't trust yourself. And if you don't, why should anyone else? Machiavelli would urge you to view these challenges as invitations, not attacks. Every test is a chance to assert your standard, to demonstrate that you can handle conflict, take responsibility, and stay unmoved by pressure. Authority doesn't require bluster or tyranny. It requires consistency, calm, and the refusal to abandon your values for a momentary peace. Notice how relationships transform when you accept this. Your woman relaxes when you decide. Your team rallies when you set direction. Your friends listen when you refuse to just blend in. Even your adversaries are forced to respect your presence. The world rewards the man who leads, not the one who dithers. True authority is built on the willingness to be disliked, to disappoint, to risk friction in pursuit of something greater than harmony. It isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself and setting a tone that others can trust. You're not above being challenged. You welcome it, because each challenge gives you a chance to lead more clearly. So when you're tested by a partner, a colleague, a friend, don't shrink. Don't collapse into apology. Don't hand over the reins for comfort. Meet the challenge head on, hold your ground, and let your authority be felt. Machiavelli knew loyalty, passion, and respect follow the man who has the courage to claim his power and never apologize for it. Authority isn't given. It's tested, claimed, and kept by those who refuse to let it slip away. The culture says this is how you earn love, trust, partnership. But Machiavelli knew what most men refuse to admit. Niceness is not the same as strength, and it is not the path to loyalty, respect, or passion. The so-called nice guy is the man who bends first, who says yes to avoid conflict, who hands over the reins while pretending he's being mature or progressive. But everyone sees through it, especially women. Watch what happens in real life. The man who always yields, who never draws a line, slowly becomes invisible. His opinions don't matter. His presence doesn't spark anything real. He's safe, but uninspiring. He avoids making decisions, hoping someone will love him for his deference. But in truth, people, especially women, begin to resent him. He's not a partner. He's a shadow, filling space but never holding it. Polarity, not parity, is the engine of all passionate connection. Machiavelli understood that power, when wielded with purpose and clarity, creates energy. When one man refuses to blend in, when he stands as an unwavering standard, tension and attraction follow. You see it when a woman leans in, challenges you, tries to find the boundary, and relaxes only when she finally feels it. You see it on teams that rally behind a clear, decisive leader, not a consensus committee. You see it in friendships, where the man who speaks uncomfortable truths is the one others quietly admire, even when they complain about him. True partnership isn't two people pretending to be the same. It's two people showing up in their strength, letting the current of their differences spark something alive. A leader who won't lead invites chaos, boredom, and hidden resentment. But a man who stands firm, who decides and acts with confidence, is the axis around which real relationship turns. Machiavelli would tell you, don't be afraid to disappoint. Don't be afraid to divide opinion, to polarize, to be the center of controversy. Nice men are forgettable. Strong men are unforgettable, even if they're not always liked. Equality is a comforting word, but it's an excuse to avoid tension. Polarity is tension harnessed for growth, for desire, for loyalty. The cost of trying to be perfectly equal is that you lose your fire. You lose the friction that makes connection meaningful. Instead of being admired, you're tolerated. Instead of being followed, you're humored. Instead of being respected, you're managed. Stop chasing the illusion of parity. Embrace the power of polarity. When you choose to stand, to decide, to lead, even when it's uncomfortable, you create the kind of relationships that have gravity, depth, and real passion. People might argue with you, resist you, even walk away from you. Let them. The ones who stay, stay because you are a man worth following. The world doesn't need more nice guys. It needs men who are unafraid to claim the mantle of authority, to set the terms, to be the storm around which real life swirls. You've seen now what Machiavelli always knew. The fantasy of perfect equality is a trap that keeps men passive, relationships stagnant, and ambition starved. It sounds noble, but it's a mirage. Real life is not built on parity. It's built on power, polarity, and the courage to embrace leadership even when it's misunderstood. Every moment you wait for someone else to set the standard, every time you apologize for your own authority, you hand your life over to those who are willing to lead, sometimes wisely, sometimes blindly, but always decisively. This is your crossroads. You can keep playing by the rules they hand you, soft, harmless, hoping to win by not offending, living as if being liked is the same as being respected. Or you can wake up to the truth. The world is shaped by those who claim responsibility, who risk being disliked, who hold the line when everyone else drifts into grey comfort. Every partnership, every relationship, every circle you move through is testing you, waiting for you to show your hand. Will you stand or will you shrink? Power is not a dirty word. It's the spark behind every legend, every enduring love, every empire that mattered. And when you claim it, when you refuse to negotiate your standards for a little more peace or a little less conflict. You become something rare. You become a man people notice even when they grumble. You become a partner others trust when things fall apart. You become the brother, the father, the friend, whose presence brings order out of chaos. Let others play for equal footing and constant compromise. You step forward, decide, set your terms. Accept the friction, the jealousy, the noise that always follows real leadership. Let your relationships become alive again, marked by tension, growth, respect, and fire. Stop seeking sameness. Demand more from yourself and those around you. And if you feel this in your gut, if you're tired of shrinking, of apologizing, of pretending to want less than you do, don't vanish into silence. Speak. Drop your truth in the comments. Like and subscribe if you're ready to stop hiding and start leading. Share this with a brother who needs to hear the end of equality and the start of conscious power. The world has enough partners in name. What it needs now are men who build legacies, not equalities. Lead, and let the rest follow or fall away.